Peace, family. This is my video, basically the response to the Ogun video. I seen that I got a lot of backlash and a lot of negative comments with it and whatnot. So this is my disclaimer. I never stated that I was a priest, a master teacher on the Orishas, that I know everything, nor was I initiated to any African systems such as voodoo from Benin, dealing with Mami Wata, Lukumi, Ifa, Isheshe. None of the above, which to these traditions would make me an Aleo or a non-initiate. My premise is based on being a devotee, in which one does not need to be initiated to work with the Orishas. So on the path of learning the higher sciences, working with spirit, working with the elements, and mastering the forces of nature, I believe that self-development, self-discovery, proper training is very important and very essential, which is why I do not initiate at this time, because getting initiated into something without proper training is like buying a vehicle without a driver's license or a learner's permit. Now on the path of professional priesthood, once you have self-discovered, you have been self-developed, you have, the proper training, which to me is far greater than initiation in some cases, then you have a spirit of discernment. That is when you should initiate, because then you can discern the real from the fake and all the bullshit. You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes you should go with always speaks with you to most. Whatever speaks with you the most, you know what I'm saying? You should go with that, because just because you have family in Obia doesn't mean that Obia speaks to you. Your path may be Candomblé, Kimbanda, or Palomayombe. So you always go with your heart and what speaks to you the most, when and when not what others try to force you into. So I want to address a few comments that were made on the video. So the first comment would be my Ogun altar. Somebody may mention that my Ogun altar was in the bedroom. That is an oxymoron, and that is incorrect, because none of the warriors go inside of the bedroom. They all go in the living room. And if you paid attention to my video, then you would have saw that Ogun was next to Obatala, which is in my living room, which is next to Elegua, which my pot goes on the floor behind the door, because that is the essence of Ogun. Because Ogun is not only outside in the forest or in the woods or in the herbs, he is also over all metals, steels, and irons. So any metals, steels, or iron all belong to him. The reason why I had a table is because in my living room I do not have ceramic floor across my whole living room. So therefore, by using common sense, I would have a table to put his flowers or his plants, his food offerings or his plate of foods, his cigars, and his fresh water and things of that nature. Because we know that traditional altars go on the floor. You know what I mean? So number two, my presentation was a simple demonstration. It wasn't meant to be a working ritual, because I don't work with my warriors in public. I work with my warriors in private. It was a simple demonstration of how you would work with Ogun and where you would place his pot afterwards. So my stance on matriarchy still remains the same. The Great Mothers didn't have to sacrifice the blood of animals to rid their enemies, because they could sacrifice their menstrual blood, which is very powerful, because animal sacrifice is more of a thing of patriarchy, because men don't have menstrual periods. And I share the same view on this matter as the priestess Aset Ra Amen. So this is one of her videos titled Making Amends When You Screw Up with Deity by priestess Aset Ra Amen. So let's hear her point of view and let's see what she has to say.
This is my practice, and I have tailored it for me. And being on this path for 35 years, I've been working with the Orisha energy for, I want to say about 16 years, 16, 17, 18, 16, 17, 18, probably about 18 years, about 16 to 18 years. I have built my spiritual practice to my specification. Okay, I have never liked sacrificing animals. I've never found that necessary. And even after doing the research and, patriarchy, because they didn't have a period and whatever, whatever.
Did you hear what she said? She has done the research, and because of patriarchy, they would sacrifice the blood of animals because they don't have a menstrual cycle. And you heard what she said. Her spiritual practice is tailored to her specifications, and she doesn't follow any traditional systems. Even though she is initiated in Obia, Palomayombe, and if I'm not mistaken, in one area of the Yoruba. Systems would and would not. Spiritual systems would and would not. And so the problem is that people try to put a monopoly on God and try to control the politics of certain information, to where if you're not initiated with a certain group, when and would not, they try to outcast you and say that what you're doing is not valid. So my fourth statement that I wanted to address, on one of the biggest comments, was when I made a statement about sacrificing semen and urine, which is a form of blood, as a sacrifice to Ogun. Now, my source for these statements are from this video, which is titled Ogun, Most Feared and Most Powerful Orisha, /Orisha.com, which is a presentation by Chief Yuya. Let's hear what he has to say.
Things that are hot, like chili peppers, jalapenos. Any type of iron can also be an offering to Ogun, as well as Osun or menstrual blood. One thing that you can always do to maintain security in your home is to put an Ogun pot, and you can cover his railroad spikes in menstrual blood. You can also use semen, or you can even use urine. Urine, we know in hoodoo, has been used for a very long time in order to protect the homestead. And urine is a form of blood, so...
Did you hear what he said? You can sacrifice blood, semen, and urine, because urine is a form of blood which has been used in hoodoo for a very long time as a protective measure. Now, what's the difference between voodoo and hoodoo? Voodoo is not a religion. Voodoo is a way of life. It is the high sciences, our higher sciences. It is dealing with spirit and mastering the elements and the forces of nature, because the Orishas are forces of nature as well. So you have to understand the deeper metaphysical, esoteric meaning of how they're incorporated with the ruling planets, the astrological signs, the spiritual connection with the animals that they represent. And so to say that is to say that some people are boxed in their spiritual path. So therefore, I'm not inside of any box or any category, nor do I have one train of thought. So I'm not a boxed in religious person, a boxed in spiritualist, or a boxed in so-called conscious person. And for those that don't know, Ogun is Heru and Alego is Tehudi. But if you only study the West African systems, then you wouldn't study, then you wouldn't know much about the East African mystery schools and mystery systems, such as the Kushite Empire, the Kemites, or even South Africa, where they have on Vulcan Rock an Ankh, which was found 50,000 years before there was a Kemet. So, you have to also think about the Mediterranean. You have to think about Timbuktu, where the oldest university on earth can be found, or in Ethiopia, where they have the Ethiopian Coptic Church, where some of the first swastikas were found. So you have to remember that there are those that can lead themselves, and that there are those that need to be led. For someone to say to you that you have to receive your warriors, or if your warriors have not been received or given to you by a santerdo or some type of initiate, that they're not valid, is to say that you need to be initiated to work with a spirit or energy that has been with you since birth. What a lot of people don't realize is that the Orishas, 9 times out of 10, come to you. This is something that is indigenous to us. Melanated people, this is our birthright. I connect with my warriors every week, and I deal with a label like almost every day of the week. So therefore, I don't get caught up in the religious dogma. That's like Christianity saying that you need a pastor to connect to God. You know what I mean? Like, or if not, you're not praying the right way. How is it that you're supposed to pray? These people try to put a monopoly on God, would not. So it's like, that's like saying that you need a middleman to do what you need to do and connect to the source, when in fact, you can connect to the source yourself. Because remember that the Orishas are not outside of you. They're a part of you in your essence. You don't have to bow down and worship anything. You give divine honors, respect, you appease, and invoke. Getting down on your knees at any energy is like becoming a slave to that energy. Peace.